Welcome to Soundbites, everybody. Kip Ione, founder, Teams of Men here. If you're watching this, you're about to dive into another episode of our weekly Soundbites segments. The Soundbites is either going to give you best clips and sounds from our latest Hivemind with like-minded coaches from across the country who are activating our lesson plans and our educations and trying to share and learn best practices for building your players as men in your program. If that's not a Hivemind week, you're listening to a Soundbites. It's going to be me discussing ways to activate and weaponize current events from across the country that I think are usable and teachable moments with you and your team, whether it's through Zoom, whether it's in person, whether it's in a share. I'm going to be talking about in those types of sound bites ways to activate what they're seeing in their scrolls, what you're seeing on the news. Either way, welcome back to Sound Bites. Today's segment is going through a lesson plan that I've run quite a few times for a number of years called your morning routine. And the goal of this lesson plan is to open your players' eyes to the realities of what women and girls go through in their lives in order to protect themselves from men that they believe to be a threat to their safety. Obviously, this is not a lesson that you should run and try to accuse any of your players of being these people, but it's an eye-opening lesson to show them the state of fear and the state of anxiety that women exist with that men don't have to worry about. And that's something that we try to challenge in our players is think about the privilege you have as a man to most of the time not worry about your physical body's safety. And then we try to compare it in this lesson, as you'll see, to what women go through. And it's a very effective lesson for opening your guys' hearts, opening their minds, and helping them kind of see this is the purpose. We're driving you towards helping not only yourselves, but people around you, including the women in your life and women in the communities, to not live in fear of what other men may do. So your morning routine, and here's how it plays out. First of all, I want you to, it's a very easy way, get some version of a projector and take your men to Google and just type in men's morning safety routine. And as you can see, what pops up in Google is skincare routines. Nothing that you would say really affects men's safety. You can also run this on a whiteboard and just put up, draw a line down the middle of a whiteboard, put on the left side what men do in the AM, on the right side put what women do in the AM. And as you can see, you can either generate ideas from your men by themselves, or you can just do this men's morning safety routine as you go through it. Next, on the other side, type in Google what women's morning safety routine looks like. And as you can see right away, there's a switch in even what Google, the search engine, does for women's morning safety is a list of what not to do, a list of how to be protective. And right back to the men's side, they're talking about how to keep your face and pores open, while women are worrying about carrying a cell phone, don't run with flow, no music on the run, the awareness level they have to be. And then if you ask your players during this rollout, just if you're using the Google version, ask your players, who is it the women are protecting themselves from? It's not another woman in their minds that they're protecting themselves from. They're protecting themselves from the predatory natures of what they consider men to be. And once again, highlight to your players, you're not accusing any of them of holding these thoughts, of being the person the women are afraid of, but you are telling them this is what we're working to alleviate by building better versions of manhood to help women not have these expectations of what men might do. This is also a very powerful lesson, coach. If you don't want to use the Google format and don't want to do, I think the Google format is good to prove what, visually for them, but you can also do it just from soliciting answers from the crowd, so to speak, with that line down the middle of a whiteboard, left side, you at the whiteboard, write down everything your men say. What you're most likely going to hear from your men when you ask guys, what do you do in the AM not to be victim of sexual assault or domestic violence? They're going to say, coach, I don't want to wake up in prison. And that's probably going to be the extent of what they think is maybe a threat when they wake up every day. And then ask them what their moms, their sisters, their girlfriends, their friends, their cousins that are female do every day. And you'll get a similar list either to this, or maybe even you're going to end up with this hopefully long list of things they know as men that women have to watch out for. And then you can open up so many discussion avenues, coach, with this exercise. Do you think it's fair that they have to park in well-lit areas, that they have to own a firearm maybe, that they never rent first-floor apartments, that they have to be aware of checking out a hotel room on the first floor? Do you think it's fair to have this long list purely out of fear of what your gender, your sex might do. Gentlemen in this room, that's an easy conversation starter. But as I said, it's a really great, some of it's shock and awe when they kind of see the visual of this long list of what people they love go through. But then here's the follow-up, coach, to this activity is you need to really hammer home, guys, all these things that the women are doing. You know what's even scarier? Is they're doing this to prevent the boogeyman or the idea, the concept of a rabid man in the bushes jumping out that might rape or harm them. The scary thing is none of these will be effective against what statistically we know to be the person most likely to harm them is a man they know at that as a friend, in a relationship that will take advantage of them in a different fashion, not jumping out of the bushes. So whatever these steps they take to prevent the boogeyman from getting them will be ineffective against a man not living the way we're trying to teach you in our program. And that's an extension that leads into your next curriculum that we here at Teams of Men can help you create to build on this first morning routine activity. So thanks again for being a part of our Sound Bites. We hope to see you use your morning routine in the future. Appreciate you listening to this episode of Sound Bites from Teams of Men. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're checking us out on social media at Teams_Men on Twitter. Follow me, Kip Ione, Ioane, on LinkedIn. And if you like what you hear from a Hivemind segment of these Sound Bites, be sure to use the links included below in the comments and the descriptions of the video to join us for our next Hivemind.